Reflections on Spectacle Pond, Winter, the Daily Edition, Poems and Photography by George Kinder. We were never meant so much to analyze nature as to live in it, to experience it with all of our being. Accumulated over nearly 30 years, George Kinder, through a mix of photography and a poetry of awakening, takes us on a journey through the passage of time along the edge of a New England pond, day by day, from the beginning of winter to its end. To Kathy. Acknowledgements. Introduction. Listening to Mother Earth. Each morning before dawn, I walk out a fieldstone path through an archway of bushes and trees to a cabin on a spit of land called by Native Americans Serenity Point. The point, sometimes flooded, the birthplace of swans, is the tip of a 100-yard peninsula that juts out into Spectacle Pond. Nearly 30 years ago, I left my financial planning practice in Cambridge to return to Littleton, where I had done sadhana, spiritual practice, from 1971 to 1973. I left to revive my spiritual practice, to live in the weather, and to reflect my experience in poetry and photography. It was then, and continues to be, my passion to understand, through nature, the nature of the present moment, the only moment we have ever experienced, and the one place we experience freedom. In Reflections on Spectacle Pond, I have gathered poems and photographs from nearly 30 years to capture some essence of each week and each day of the year. The weekly edition was released in 2021, the first of 5 books. Winter follows spring, summer, and autumn to complete the daily editions that record each day of each season in more than 366 two-page spreads. I never knew for certain that I would complete this work, but from the day I began, I thought of it as my legacy. Reflections on Spectacle Pond is a book of hours, an epic poem, and an illuminated manuscript. My debt to the world of art and literature is nearly as great as my debt to nature herself. In particular, I owe a tremendous debt to the epic poets. Their greatest influences for me have come from the St. Matthew Passion, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and William Blake's Jerusalem. Each were written in a language foreign to me, though not as foreign nor as familiar as the voice of nature herself. My debt to Asia is also immense, in particular to the 2 great Japanese artists, Hiroshige and Hokusai, and to their acolyte, Vincent van Gogh, who, without ever leaving European soil, lived more in Japan than anyone I know. Most enormous of all, my debt to my constant companion over these past 40 years, the peerless calligrapher, poet, and Zen master of Japan, Ryokan, the Great Fool. I invite you to join me on my daily walks. Come in any season. You could start with the day you are in, or, like a novel, a narrative of a year, read Reflections on Spectacle Pond, the daily edition, straight through. Feel free to use each 2-page spread as a meditation on Mother Earth to start your day, or to support your own spiritual practice and search for the present moment. I am grateful for all reading. Preface to Winter. I can still remember the day. It was late spring, halfway down the road, where the bikers turned toward the woods. On either side, wild blackberries were in bloom. I had to stop everything I was doing and just stand in the wind to savor their aromas. For 10 minutes or longer, I didn't move, though, Kathy, you walked past me time and again, speaking on your phone. At last, I thought, I have to capture their fragrance in the wind. So I took out my phone to video the whole experience. But all I could capture were the songs of the red-winged blackbirds, swooping above them through the bushes and the sky. And then, like snow, the blossoms fell. They were so beautiful. They must have been as delighted as I.